Today I'm visiting 96 National Historical Site. I passed this many times, but finally I decided to take time to visit. It should be very interesting. A lot went on here at a little town of 96 in South Carolina. This is a typical log home built back in the colonial days in the 1700s. The name of this log home is the Logan House. The Logan log house was built in the late 1700s and was actually discovered in a bigger house in Greenwood. They built around it over the years, and it was in 1968 that they moved this house to this location. Cool. I built a log house back in the 70s up in Pennsylvania, and it was much bigger, but this is a true log home. This site played a significant role in keeping our independence from British rule. In November 1775, the first Southern battle of the Revolutionary War was fought here at 96. Later in 1781, the longest field siege of the war, lasting 28 days, took place at 96. This is pretty cool outside the Visitor Center. It says it was used in the Battle of the Star Fort in June of 1781. It was erected by the Star Fort chapter in November of '54. This is amazing to be walking here. Over 250 years ago, there was a major revolutionary battle here in 1775. Then in 1781, Nathaniel Greene led 1,000 Patriots against 550 Loyalists from Britain. What I'm going to show you is the Island Ford Road. This was a way that both the Loyalists and the colonial troops would bring supplies up into 96. In December of 1780, George Washington, head of the Continental Army, took action and named General Nathaniel Greene to command the Patriot forces in the South in December 1780. That's the Star Fort. And you can see all along here they dug a trench. It would be very difficult to crawl up 15 feet through sharpened stakes and poles while they're shooting down on you. To get there, they started about where I'm standing and dug trenches, zigzagged back through so they have cover. And then when they get up by the rifle tower, right here, and behind it they dug a mine so they could dig down under the soil and up to the fort, and their plan was to blow it up, but that was never completed. This is where I'm standing right now. So they dug a parallel here where they dig different parallels as they go towards the fort to give them cover. And then they'd zigzag up and create another parallel, just like the guys are doing right here. Gives them cover to shoot towards the fort. This parallel where they would be down inside of a ditch that they dug is marked with higher grass, as you can see right here. This would have been the first parallel. I'm standing at the second parallel. And right there's the Star Fort. You could see the artillery battery was right here. Of course, they had them throughout all over, but they had those raised up to where they could shoot directly down into the fort with their cannons. A mine was dug here, and their intentions were to dig from the mine to the fort, get underneath of it, and blow it up. But the hard red clay made it difficult, and they never did finish here's a good picture, never finished the mine. But you can see right here by the fort, they started digging underneath, hauling out dirt with buckets, but it never finished. These ropes show where the mine is. This photo portrays Greene's men that volunteered to charge the fort. Everyone was so tired from digging, being up all night fighting, and they could not get reinforcements. So they made an effort to attack, and out of the 50 Patriots assaulting the Star Fort, 30 were killed or wounded. And that's what it would have looked like. The fort was high, not like you see out there now, but that's 250 years ago. And it just didn't work out for the Patriots. We're gonna enter the Star Fort. This is the outer wall, and it goes around, just amazing. And you can see the rifle tower over here, but it was 30 feet high, and they could shoot directly into the fort. I'm still inside the Star Fort, and right here was the well where they got their water. Just to walk on this sacred ground is special to me. Way back then, people dying, fighting for a country so we could have freedoms that we're now giving up. We're now giving up. We're so close to World War III, and I don't think we'd have the same results as World War I and World War II. It's just sad. In 1776, 96 had about a dozen buildings, according to what it says here, and 79 males were on record living here in 1776. After the Patriots' defeat, the British command decided 96 was too far from Charleston and too deep into hostile country. So in July 1981, they burnt the town down. There were about 12 buildings, including a jail and a bank and other buildings like that, stores. And they took off, burnt the place down, and it sat right here. This is where the town sat. I'm standing where the trading post was for the town of 96. This is where the Indians came to trade their goods. I'm walking up the road from Charleston towards the fort, the Star Fort, after all of these years. And there's still evidence of the road, there's still evidence of the fort. I'm coming from Gowdy's trading post, walking up towards the fort on the road from Charleston to 96. And up there in the clearing, that is where the little town of 96 was that got burnt down. And right above there is where the fort stood. Okay, it's opening up now, coming from Charleston into the town of 96. We passed the trading post, like I said, and this was where about 12 buildings once stood. Okay, the fort was up there, and right over here at this marker was the southeast center of this small town. And right here is the southwest center of this village. And over there, where you see those white markers, that's the site of the jail. From this spring is where they would get water and carry into the fort. And without this water, they were in deep trouble. It was cut off by the Patriots and caused panic among the Loyalist troops and civilians. Still flowing. Not like it did back then, but still flowing. This is a fort that was built 6 years before the battle at the Star Fort. And all the soldiers that fought here at the Williamson's fort were Americans. The Loyalists were all American, but supported the British. The battle didn't last long before there was a surrender. This is an example of the sharpened poles that surrounded the Star Fort. They had them here at the Williamson's fort as well. Of course, it's reconstructed. These red poles mark the communication line going up to the Star Fort. Same thing holds true here, that they make it difficult for the troops that would be attacking the fort to get to the wall. This is very interesting. After the Revolution, the American government confiscated land that belonged to the prominent Loyalists. You are standing on such a tract, and it became the site of a new town of 96 in 1783. The old town near the Star Fort never rebounded from its occupations by the Loyalists, who left the village in ruins after the siege of 1781. It's been a beautiful day, not too hot, a little overcast. So check out the little town of 96. It's beautiful, beautiful walk. It's so peaceful. And you can see there's picnic tables if you pack a lunch. I met a couple from Colombia. That's about an hour and a half or so from here. And they love doing this kind of thing. And cow pens, you can go to cow pens and Kings Mountain. There's so much to do in our country here. So we're just a blessed nation. I'm back in the museum again. It's a real nice little museum, but very nice. There's some cool stuff here. I like these handmade bricks from the jail. And you can see an animal stepped on them. There's just so much to see. They had these items numbered because they couldn't put little tags describing what everything is right with the object, so they did this. It was a fun walk. I learned a lot, and I recommend the 96 National Historic Site to everyone. It's a beautiful walk.